Alright everybody, how we all doing? Good to see you again. We got today a 5.4 review, and this is something that we're going to be looking at taking a quiz on soon. So we're going to work through this review sheet, and hopefully this will help. And then of course if you have any questions you may feel free to ask during the video or afterwards. Okay, 4 minus 2i minus the quantity -1 plus 4i. First part stays the same. Second part, you're flipping all the signs due to the fact that that is a negative out front. You're stripping it in. Okay? Now you're looking for common terms. 4 plus 1 is 5. -2i minus 4i is -6i. That's all she wrote. You're good. Okay? We can't do anything else with it. It's in standard form. You have your number, then your imaginary unit. You're good. 2 is much the same. We can distribute this negative sign in. Please notice that I only distribute the negative into the 8 and the I, because that's the parentheses right there. Now looking to combine like terms. We got 8 minus 3 is -5. -2i minus I is -3i. Plus 30i is 27i. Okay? Again, just combining like terms. No big deal there. All is well. 3, and we're going to start to step it up a little bit. Really important to point out, the reason I'm adding or subtracting here is because of this minus sign being distributed in. Notice that for these problems, I don't have that. Okay, I need you guys to notice that because everyone's going to start to multiply up here, and you need to be able to see it's plus or minus. Okay. 3, multiply that 4i in, 24i minus 4i squared. You might be inclined to circle this. However, this is the only time in product distribution I'm going to do this. -4, this turns into -1. If it helps you guys, the second you get your quiz, write I squared equals -1 at the top of it. Because that's huge. I'm telling you it's going to come up over and over again. -4 times -1 is +4. Please don't leave it like this. Please write it in standard form. There we go. Okay, good deal. Alright, number 4. We are foiling. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times -3i is -3i. -4i times 5 is -20i. -4i times -3i is plus 12i squared. By now in this class, I'm assuming you guys know foiling. Okay, so I really need you to know foiling. If you don't know what foiling is, I need you to come see me after school and talk to me. Okay, because this is something that like this, you can't do any of the stuff I'm doing in this worksheet if you can't foil. So please keep that in mind. All right. Combine like terms. 5 minus 23i. This turns into -12, only because of this I squared. Okay. So please don't just start randomly turning things negative. Only when there's an I squared. 5 minus 12 is -7. Minus 23i. There we go. Okay. Cool. Number 5. There are 2 of these. That's why it's squared. Okay, so I'm foiling again. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5i is 10i. 5i times 2 is 10i again. 5i times 5i is 25i squared. 4 plus 20i minus 25. 4 minus 25 is -21 plus 20i. Okay, you can't combine the i's and regular numbers, you're good. Alright, 6, 7, 8, we're going to start to get into the complex conjugates. Alright, so for 6, you're looking always in your denominator. 2 minus I. What's the opposite? 2 plus I. This one's simple enough. Up top, multiply the 3 in. 6 plus 3i. Down low, 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times I is 2i. -I times 2 is -2i. -I times I is -I squared. The 2i and -2i cancel out down low. We talked about in class, you know, how they basically are always going to cancel out when you're multiplying by the complex conjugate. Up top, this stays the same. Down low, 4 plus 1. Guys, negative I squared is equivalent to plus 1. Okay? So it's 4 plus 1, which is 5. Can I reduce these all down? I know you're probably thinking, oh, but 6 and 3 have 3 to go into them. 3 can't go into 5. So you circle it, and you're done. Okay? Alright, number 7. Now, we didn't do one of these on the notes, but it's actually easier. I need to get rid of the I in the bottom. Well, what can I multiply I by to get rid of it? Just I. If I multiply it by I, something nice is going to happen. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by I. Up top, I get negative 2I minus 3I squared. Down low, I get 5I squared. Up top, this becomes a plus 3. Down low, I squared is negative, so this becomes a negative 5. I'm completely fine if you just leave it like that. If that's bothering you, the negative's on the bottom, you could, bump it up top and get it to become negative 3 plus 2I over 5. Either of these answers is acceptable. They are equivalent. They are the same thing. Alright? Either one works. So, just be aware of that. But you're only doing this if you just have a plain old I in the bottom. Okay? Number 8 is much like what we were doing in the notes. I need to complex conjugate of the denominator. So it's 5 plus I. Up top, foiling. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times I is 3I. I times 5 is 5I. I times I is I squared. Down low, 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 5I minus 5I. Then negative I and I is negative I squared. Okay, up top, I squared is negative 1. So 15 minus 1 is 14. 3I plus 5I is 8I. My 5i's cancel out down here. What does negative I squared turn into? Plus 1. 25 plus 1 is 26. Okay, am I done here? Really, really close. Everything's divisible by 2. So divide all the numbers by 2. 7 plus 4I over 13. Now I'm good. Alright. Sweet. So, should be good. Okay. 4 more problems and we're all wrapped up. Solve the following equations. Subtract 2x squared over. 2x squared plus 9 equals negative 1. Subtract 9 over. Okay. Divide by 2. Then I'm going to square root left. I'm going to square root right. X equals. Don't forget the plus or minus. Don't forget to pull the I out. Okay. The trickiest part of the problem is this work up here. I know everyone in this room can do that work, but every once in a while you're going to forget plus or minus. Why? Because I do it. Everyone does it. It's just something that you forget. Don't forget when you square root both sides, you do plus or minus. Don't forget if you have a negative under the radical, you pull that out. Okay. Cool. Over here, okay, I can distribute the 3 in. I get 3x squared plus 15 equals 6x squared plus 30. I want all the x squareds on one side. I'm more of a positive guy, so I'm going to subtract 3x squared over to keep it positive. 15 equals 3x squared plus 30. Subtract 30 over. Negative 15 equals 3x squared. Divide by 3. Just going to flip this around. Huh. See how this is exactly the same now over here. Square root, x equals plus or minus root 5i. Okay? I can't get rid of the square root because it's not a perfect square, so it just remains the same. Good deal. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, not all these answers are going to be plus or minus root 5i. It's just a coincidence. Okay, 11. Here, I could distribute it in again, but you see how it's out top here squared? Let's do what we did before in the previous sections. Add 12 over. Okay. Divide by negative 3. Should be a squared there. Okay, so I can square root left, I can square root right. 5x plus 6 equals plus or minus 2i. The reason being plus or minus 2i is the square root of 4 is 2, and it's negative, you just have an i out back. Subtract 6 over. One last step. Divide everything by 5. Now, I know this looks ugly, but everything stays separated. That's it. Okay? Don't try to combine things together. Just leave them like that. You have your real number, you have your imaginary unit, and then you're divided by your real. 5 can't go into 6 or 2. Boom, you're done. Okay, finally, last one. Same idea. Subtract 2. Subtract 2. 4x plus 3 squared equals negative 2. I can divide by 4. Equals negative 1/2. Guys, I need you at this point to start putting things as fractions. Do not put decimal there. It's going to screw everything up. Square root left, square root right. X plus 3 equals plus or minus root 1 over root 2i. Alright, I'm going to be doing a little bit of side work here. What's the square root of 1? 1. Square root of 2 remains root 2. I have to rationalize this. Okay, so I'm going to go down here. I'll do a little thought bubble down here. That's big enough. So 1 over root 2. I have to rationalize it. You multiply top and bottom by root 2. Top you get root 2. Bottom you get just root 2 times root 2, which is just 2. Okay? So we get root 2 over 2. If you have to do the work off this side. So back up here now, x plus 3 equals plus or minus root 2 over 2i. Yes, I'm going to ask you guys to do that. It's a very important skill that I need you to have in order to succeed when you get to pre-calc or honors pre-calc. Alright? I do believe you guys can do that in your head if you really want to, like right here. You can multiply top and bottom by root 2 and go, oh, 1 times root 2 is just root 2. Root 2 times root 2 is just 2. Whatever works for you. If you have to show the work, get a piece of scrap paper, do it. Okay? Alright. Here, subtract 3 over. That's all she wrote. Okay. I guess one of the tricks that you guys slowly learn to pick up is you're keeping things separated. Alright, you've been doing it for a while, you know, with x's and real numbers and whatnot, but with variables, same thing here. Real numbers do not combine with imaginary numbers. They stay separated. Okay? So, that concludes a little review sheet. I know it's a lot. That's why we're going to spend some more time reviewing it. Okay? But feel free to look through this. Feel free to ask questions as we go. And as always, good luck. We're all counting on you.